All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're jumping into something that's literally changing the game for how we build websites, Next.js streaming. And trust me, this isn't just some minor update. It's a whole new way of thinking about performance and user experience on the web. You know the feeling, right? You click a link and nothing. Just a blank white screen. You're sitting there tapping your fingers, wondering if your internet is broken or if the site is just slow. Well, that exact feeling of frustration is what we're going to unpack today.
So, that frustrating wait, it actually has a name, and it points to a massive bottleneck in the way we've traditionally built websites. It's what we call the all or nothing problem. Okay, so here's the technical term for it, render blocking. Basically, in the old model, your browser has to get everything, every piece of data, every image, all of it, before it can show you anything. The entire page is held hostage by its slowest part.
I mean, just think about that for a second. A single, sluggish database query somewhere deep in the system can create this huge domino effect, grinding the whole experience to a halt. The user sees absolutely nothing, and you know their patience is wearing thin. So that's the problem. What's the fix?
Well, the answer isn't just a small tweak. It's a complete shift in thinking. Instead of waiting for everything, we start delivering parts of the page as soon as they're ready. This approach is called streaming, and it paints a totally different picture for the user.
And this right here, this chart really nails the difference. We're moving away from that old monolithic all-or-nothing way of doing things. With streaming, we send the UI in chunks. That static, boring wait becomes this dynamic, progressive reveal. It's a huge change.
And that is the ultimate goal here. We're not just making things faster. We're fundamentally changing how waiting feels. We're flipping the script. Instead of a blank page that basically screams, "Hey, I might be broken," you get immediate feedback that says, "Don't worry, I'm on it. Here's what I've got for you so far."
So, you might be wondering, how does this magic actually work? Well, it's not magic at all. It's more like a really clever architectural handshake between two core React technologies that work together perfectly.
Let's meet the two main players. First, you've got React Server Components. Think of them as the workhorse, doing the heavy lifting of fetching data and rendering on the server. Then you have React Suspense, which is like the smart manager on the front end. It says, okay, this piece isn't ready yet, so for now, let's just show this cool loading animation. It's a beautiful partnership.
Okay, so let's walk through this process. The server immediately sends a bare-bones HTML shell of your page with placeholders where the slow content will go. The browser renders that instantly. Then, as each component finishes its work on the server, its final HTML is streamed down the pipe, and the browser just swaps out the placeholder. It all happens seamlessly, without a jarring page refresh.
All right, so that's the theory, which is super cool. But how do we, as developers, actually do this? Well, Next.js gives us two main ways to put streaming into action. First up, we've got the super simple approach. You just create a special file named loading.tsx. By doing this, you're telling Next.js, hey, while this whole page rot is loading, show this cool loading skeleton I designed. It's incredibly easy.
But what if you need more fine-grained control? What if you don't want the whole page to show a loading state? That's where you bring in React's Suspense component. You can wrap any individual component in it, allowing it to load completely on its own schedule. This is your scalpel for surgical UI updates on complex dashboards.
So how do you know which one to pick? Think of it this way. Loading.tsx is your broad brush. It's perfect for simple pages where a full-page loader makes sense. But for a complex dashboard with lots of independent widgets, Suspense is your fine-tipped pen. It gives you that precise control you need. The choice really depends on the experience you're trying to build.
You know, it's really easy to look at all this and just think, okay, so it's all about making pages load faster. But honestly, that's only scratching the surface. The impact of adopting this architecture goes way, way deeper than just speed. This quote right here gets to the heart of a much bigger idea. This new model encourages us to put our data fetching logic inside the components that actually use the data. We're getting away from these huge, messy data fetches at the very top of our apps. It's a cleaner way to build.
And that shift in thinking? That leads to the real wins. For developers, you get more organized, reusable components. For users, the perceived wait time plummets, making the app feel snappy, and for the application itself, it becomes way more resilient. One slow API call doesn't bring the whole house down anymore.
And hey, let's not just gloss over these loading skeletons because they are so much more important than you might think. They're not just dumb placeholders. They're a psychological tool. They give the user a preview of the layout, which makes the wait feel shorter and reassures them that yes, the app is working. It just feels professional.
And all of this, it leaves us with a really fascinating question to chew on. If our UIs are now assembled piece by piece, streamed down as they become ready, what does a page load even mean anymore? It kind of feels like the concept itself is becoming obsolete. We're not just building static pages, we're creating living, breathing interfaces that are constantly evolving right in front of the user. It's a huge shift.